Okay. And this is our first live workout together. It'll be a little bit more talking than usual. But I think that's all the working parts. There, I need to put that on mute. Okay, so can you guys hear my voice over the music just fine? Okay, good. Thank you very much. All right, so what I want to begin our class with is a basic sense of how to use your transversus abdominis muscle to gently support your back. Yeah. So transversus abdominis muscle is the one that goes around your waist and core. Yeah. And it works exactly like a girdle or a corset. Yeah. I should know by now that I always want a scarf for this part. Doot, 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 doot. Here we go. Okay. All right. So let's say more or less that this fabric is going to represent where transversus abdominis is. It attaches to the sides of your spine. It attaches underneath your ribs and to the top of your pelvis. So like your hip bones, your transversus abdominis also attaches from hip bone to hip bone right across here. And the interesting part about this bottom part, some people call this lower part where it attaches pyramidalis. It's all the same basically set of muscles. And the muscle tissue goes horizontally, which means that when it contracts and gets shorter, it pulls you in. Remember, I was talking about teacheritis. There it was. I just explained to you in 3 ways how transversus abdominis works like a corset. So transversus abdominis is the deepest muscle. Yeah. And I'm not going to be doing anatomy forever here, but the deepest muscle is your transversus abdominis, T8, and it works like this. Let's all stick it out. Yes. Make that room. And then we're going to lift it in and relax it and lift it in. And getting the hang of that isolation, go ahead and just lift your belly button to your spine in and out while I talk now. So getting the hang of isolating that muscle at first can be a little bit like, what am I doing? It feels like you're trying to do this, right? But in a couple of weeks, you'll just be able to do it on call. Yeah. And what we want is to be able to have not a totally dumped out, relaxed TA, but we want to have in daily life like a 30% pulling in or tone. And that prevents 70% of your lower back injuries. What? It's huge, right? Because it just supports your spine. So I'll come back to supporting your spine, but let's do the basic. Transversus abdominis, horizontal. Rectus abdominis is the opposite. It's just vertical and it erects your spine. Yes, your rectus abdominis is absolutely your 8-pack or your 6-pack muscle. Yeah, it goes right. It's that one that goes right up the center. And then your oblique muscles are diagonal. There's some that go this way. There's some that go that way. And oblique muscles are for twisting, like twisting your rib against your spine, or side bending. Yeah, and there's of course both on both sides. I'm never going to make you know which ones are internal and external obliques, but if you're an anatomy geek, handy tip is your internal obliques direction is the same as if you put your hands into your pants pockets. External go the other way, internal into your pockets. Okay, so for our core fitness class, each time I'm going to put on some thump thump music like we have right now. And we're going to start with a little like 5 minutes of raving out. You ready? Let's stand up. Throughout this follow along section, let's try to gently or firmly hold your abdominal wall in. Okay. I'm going to turn up my jams in my room here a little bit. Okay. So let's just start with a little march in place. And I like to really point my feet because that gets my calves and soles of my feet warm too. Turn it out. Let it go side to side. Bring your legs back parallel. Knees and toes together. Let's sit our booty back. Move those. Pilates scoops is one term for this. In the Pilates training, in yoga, we call it the Uddiyana Bandha. This is a great thing to do when you're stuck in traffic and you feel like it's wasting your time. Just do these out and in. All right. Holding that in, keeping your hips, your pelvis level. Let's lift one leg. 6, 7, 8. Go ahead and put your hands on your hip bones. And this is first day, so feel how many other kinds of wiggles you might have. Some of us stick our booties back. Some of us lift that hip up. We're gonna learn to stabilize the core. Oh, I think we did a lot of extra ones on that side. 6, 7, good. Okay, let's stand on your right leg. And just so you guys know, I'm gonna teach in mirror. So this is your left hand, yes? Raise your left hand. I should be looking like your mirror in the screen, yes? This is your right hand. This is my left hand. So I will switch the words and terminology anytime I'm facing you. Facing sideways, I'm going to talk about your side so you can listen to my voice, and I should look like your mirror. Sometimes when I go all the way sideways, I'll switch, but I should always use your correct right-left terminology. Can you guys hear me? And yes, Noreen, I'll get to your question. Yeah, you can hear me, Noreen? Okay. All right, so back to where we were. Soft knees, knees and toes straight together. Notice that you have a little habit of sticking a toe out. A lot of us do, yeah? Let's keep it small, stomach's in, little micro bounce. And we're gonna send a leg out and bring it in. Send a leg out or bring it in. Looks simple, should be a bit more challenging than you expect, unless you're going, wee, okay, wee, okay. Yeah, I want you to hold those cores in, sit down tight, keep your weight back over your hips so nothing moves except your leg. Nothing moves except your legs. Hips stay parallel with the floor. So just the side of your hip is doing that work, and the other hip has to do the work to support you. All right, standing big. Just shake it out for a second. Okay, we're going to go through the positions of the spine here. We're gonna curve the whole thing like a C. Notice I'm letting my middle back go back behind me, but my shoulders are still over my hips. Yeah, I'm not here. Flat, and then arch. Like you're like, oh, it's such a magical good day. Okay, we're going to hug a giant fluffy dog. That fluffy dog in Little Mermaid. Yeah, think of that one. Flat, arch, flat, and curve and squat. Neutral, and arch, and neutral, and curve. Neutral, and arch, and neutral. Fluffy dog in Little Mermaid. Neutral, and arch, and neutral, and curve, and neutral, and arch, and neutral, and curve. Go ahead and roll down with your head. 4, 5, 6, 7. Roll it back up. Articulate the spine. Doot, 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 doot. Go ahead and come back center. I'm gonna isolate the shoulders a little bit. Let's go ahead and let your arms come out, nice and straight. We're going to first send our shoulder blades wide and forward. Imagine I'm gonna grab both of your wrists and I'm gonna pull away from you and let your whole back stretch. You didn't even grab your own hands for a second, yeah? Go ahead, yes. Okay, can you pull your transversus abdominis back in? So your hands are going away from your belly button. All right, that feeling right there is what I call when your shoulder blades are apart. Yeah, so we're gonna go forward, up and forward, back and forward, up. I'm out of practice with my words, you guys, down and forward. up and forward, up and together back. So I'm pinching my shoulder blades together, and then down and back, down and forward, wide, up and forward, up and back, down and back. How's your TA? Down, up. So I'm making boxes with my shoulders, which is what I usually call this. Up and down, down, up, up and down. Let's shake that out for a while. This, knees up, knees up. To the side, hold it still. Now kick your buns. Let your breath get a little deeper. Come on, center. Let's warm up the chest, chest. So I'm pinching my shoulder blades and pushing my heart forward. You can row a boat. You can dance. Okay, now hips. Forward, back. How's that TA? Good. Nice and wide. Just hips going tip, flat, tip, flat, tip, flat, tip, flat. Hold them flat. Now just your ribs, ribs, center, ribs, center, ribs, center. How's your TA during this? Can you still hold up and in? Okay, we're adding together. Hips, ribs, ribs, hips, hips, ribs, ribs, hips upright, hip side, rib side, ribs up, hips up, hip side, rib side, hips up. Good, good. All right, one more here. Now we're going to do a flat back series. And the thing that I want you to know is that flat backs often begin round. Let me show you a round back. Yeah. But what makes this challenging is to keep a very flat back. And if you keep a very flat back, then all the torque is going to happen in your glutes. So your glutes and your hamstrings will do the work instead of your back muscles. All right. So nice parallel legs, nice and close together, knees and toes straight forward. That's what parallel means. Shoulders back, TA in, and lean your skull out away from your butt. 5, 6, 7, 8. Bring it up. 4, 2, 3, 4. Using your butt to bring your body back upright. And we'll go out. 2, take it slow. 4, if it's super tight in the back of your legs, you can bend your knees a little bit. That's fine. Up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. TAs in just 4. 3, 2, 1. Up 4. 4, 3. Use your glutes to come up and hold your tummies in the whole time. And bring it up. Okay, we're going to add a little more challenge. Arms up, out. 2, 3, 4, up. 6, 7, 8. Okay, did you feel it in your lower back at all? Maybe. That means this happened, arching, yeah? So pull that TA in, lengthen through your tailbone so we're nice and flat looking. I know there's an arch in your spine, but it looks flat. Okay, here we go. Hands on your lower back. Keep it flat. Keep it flat. Keep it flat. It's okay if you don't get all the way down to horizontal. Use your glutes and hamstrings. Good. Try it with arms again. Keep that flat back. And bend your knees. Oh my gosh, it's crazy. Can you stay flat back? And we'll come straighten legs. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Rise up. And out. 2, 3, 4, and bend your knees. 2, 3, 4, and straighten out. 2, 3, 4, rise up. Good. Okay, let's come on down to the floor. Switch gears of songs. No songs. Okay, so we're going to sit down on our buns. We're going to figure out Why it's so quiet? Meh. Come on. Maybe it'll just figure itself out in a hot second. Okay, so we're sitting down on our buns. And we're going to come here over and over and over and over and over again. So there's a basic format of position that I want to talk about. And that is alignment of your legs with your hips. So on your feet, I'm assuming that most of us only have 5 toes on each foot. How boring. But we want to think about our pointer finger toe. So if you have a big toe and then a pointer finger on each foot, not your big toe, but your pointer finger toe, your second toe, is going to be in line with the giant tendon under your knee. So while we're sitting here, go ahead and grab your kneecaps. Hello, kneecaps. And then take your fingers down to the lower end of those kneecaps. Yeah, kneecap, and then right underneath it. And you can feel this rope-like tendon that is right underneath each kneecap. That tendon, we want to line it up with your second toe. Yeah. And that is toes, knees, hip bones. Yes, not the outside of our hips, but the hip bones, like the arches, because those hip bones are lining up with the hip sockets. And so really we're trying to get all of our joints in alignment so that as we move through our range of motion, we're working on maintaining a posture that's healthiest for our joints in the long run. Yeah, we're building habits. So from there, you'll notice that there's space between your knees. Sometimes we'll choose to practice without that space, but in general, you want to think about enough space between your knees for a personal sized cheesecake. I don't know why I decided it was a personal cheesecake like when I first started teaching, but I did. So that's what I call it. And I think the reason that I call it that is because I want you to think of something that is delicate. So you're holding your knees in place without smashing it necessarily, but also you don't want to drop that cheesecake on the floor and then eat it off your mat. Yeah, ew. So you're gently holding that personal sized cheesecake between your knees. And then between your feet, sometimes we're going to be laying down on the floor and you won't be able to see your foot position. So the trick is go ahead and lift one foot up. You can tap the other toe, the other arch of the foot with your toe without moving your heel in this position. If my heels are too far away, I can't reach the other foot. And if they're too close, then, well, you know, they're all the way together. Sometimes we do things as an alternate all the way closed. And I'm kind of into that this year. So I might break my own rule, but in general, the alignment that we want to use from physical therapy and Pilates is this open alignment. Yeah. Okay. So let's lean back. Did you lean back and your legs went like this or like this? Maybe. Let's try to break that habit. Let's stick out our bellies and let's pull them in and stick them out, pull them in, stick them out, pull it in, stick it out, pull it in, stick it out, pull it in, and let yourself maybe even close your eyes for a little bit. So we're just wiggling that transversus abdominis. And can you allow yourself to feel what else is moving? So if I'm just using my transversus abdominis, I should not be moving my spine right now. So your back should not be wiggling, but you might feel your pelvic floor wiggle. That is underneath the part you sit on might be pushing in and out as you do this action. We're going to add that detail next, but don't worry too much about it today. Except that in general, we want to try and lift up and in and not be pushing down and out through the pelvic floor. But that is a second level. So hang tight to that if you can. All right, so we're trying to basically pull up and in through this core here. We're going to pull this belly button in. And now let's sit up onto your sits bones. Those are the bones under your butt, yes? And when we sit here, all kinds of weird things might happen with your legs. You might need to scoot your feet out or in order to be able to sit up straight. So feel free to do that. If it feels like you can't get up, send those feet further away. It'll give you a little more room. Yes. All right. Can you gently rest your hands on your knees and wiggle those transversus abdominis in and out. Yeah. Why are we not playing? That's so weird. Okay. Holding in, hands on the side of your pelvis. Can you tip your pelvis so you're rounding your lower back? Tip it a little more, tip it a little more. And then roll back up using your lower back muscles to get on top of those sits bones. So if my fingertips are representing where my sits bones are, it looks like this. I'm going to tip it, tip it, tip it, come back up. Tip it, tip it, tip it, come back up. And tip it, and tip it, and tip it, come back up. Let yourself put your hands on your belly and think compassionately to yourself, am I holding this? And up, and curve it, and curve it, and curve it, rise up, and curve it, and curve it, and curve it, rise up, and curve it, and curve it. And I'm going to restart my music app, and curve it, and curve it, and curve it, rise up. And good. Okay, let's flip over. Those are called roll downs. We'll do lots more variations on those shortly. Let's flip over to our all fours position. And we're going to put our hands down directly in front of our shoulders. And this means that we have good arm alignment, right? Notice most of us try and start a bit wider than our shoulders or maybe a bit ahead of our shoulders. We want to go right there. And your elbows, everybody just let your elbows go to the side a little bit, yeah? Your elbows are going to probably go to the side by accident or by default. And I want us to try and learn to rotate those elbows back. So let's basically do chicken wings with your hands on the floor. Yeah. So we're going to hold our elbows so they point back, back. And your hands on the floor. And this part about where your elbows go and your hand position is super important so that we can build strength in the forearm and give ourselves the least amount of fatigue in the back of the wrist, which everyone's going to be tired there if you're not used to it. Yeah, so we'll stretch out our wrists at the end. Hands in front of your shoulders, bend them and straighten them with your elbows going back. I like to think about pointer fingers up. How's your Pilates scoop by now? Yes. Notice that this or this might happen. So we're going to do that action with the elbows squeezed down. Let's see if we can have some tunes now. Nope. It's a mystery. We have no music. Okay. We're in all fours. Our elbows go back and we straighten and back and straighten and back and straighten. All right. From here, let's check in with that Pilates scoop. Drop your belly, lift it up. Release your TA, lift it up. Release and 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 up. All right, hold that in. Go ahead and sit back onto your feet. We won't be here long. I know this is not awesome for some people with knees. Everybody has, well, most people have knees, but some people's knees do not like this. Okay, so release and up, release and in and up, release, in and up, release, in and up. And then I want you to just slouch and sit up straight and lift your heart and sit up straight. And notice that this action is mostly happening in your chest. Okay, let's come back to all fours. Curve your chest and straighten it, elbows back, and arch your chest and straighten it, and curve your chest and straighten it, and arch your chest and straighten it. Okay, now I would like you to do that with your lower back. So from your rib cage down to your tailbone. Think about your pelvis as being part of your back, because it really is. If your wrists are tired, you can switch to fists. Yeah. And we're going to lift that belly in and tuck and neutral and arch. Really stick your tailbone way up into the air. That should feel probably good for most of us. Neutral and curve. That's the challenge. And neutral and arch and neutral. Are you holding your Pilates scoop in the whole time? Your transversus abdominis. Arch and neutral. And then go ahead and try that with your whole back. Curve the whole thing. Tuck your chin into your chest. Look up your own belly button. Point your tail down to the floor. Come to a fully flat back. And then arch. Pinch your shoulder blades back in together. Lift your tailbone all the way to the ground. Pull your chin in like you're trying to make an extra chin. And neutral. And curve the whole thing. You can add a yoga breath if you like. Inhaling to center. Exhaling as you come to cat. Inhaling center. Exhale. It's called cat cow in yoga. All right, come back to your knees. Lift those transversus abdominis in and curve the whole thing. And neutral. And arch the whole thing. And neutral. Use your breath. It will help you get more out of it. You can put a hand on the front and a hand behind. All righty, good. Now we've felt the transversus abdominis movement and the spine movement in multiple positions. And the reason why we're doing this, of course, remember, is because we're trying to get really good at isolating those things. Eventually, we're going to really be able to isolate your TA and your spine at the same time. That's our goal. So here we are now on our back. Now gravity is working opposite. So feel it here. Relax your transversus abdominis. Nothing happens because gravity is helping you. Yes. So instead, push it up. Feel what that feels like to push your belly to make it rise. You can probably definitely feel your pelvic floor push down when you exert that pressure. And then I want you to lift in and up. Release it and lift in and up. Sometimes I think about being a canoe, you know, like a carved out into the center canoe. You can exhale as you do that. All right, now we're going to talk about that pelvic clock. Yes. So I use the terminology from Pilates for this, but we do it in lots of different practices. Everybody, please put your fingers on those hip bones. Yeah, tap it out, squish down until you feel where they are. And then also feel you have a pubic bone, right? So that's the part of your pelvis that meets down there in your pubic area. When we have a flat pelvis, a neutral is the term pelvis, then your pubic bone and your hip bones are on the same plane. They're all horizontal with the floor, yeah, parallel to the floor. When we pull our Pilates scoop in, they stay in the same place. But we can choose to do that action we did in roll down, where we tip the pelvis and you smash your back into the floor, the lower back into the floor, and that gently lifts your tailbone just a little bit away from the floor. And then let it go to neutral and see if you can just curve in and neutral. And sometimes it really helps to just put your hands on your pelvis while you're learning this. So maybe that's working, maybe it's not. Maybe you're moving your back. It's not a curve. Nothing's happening above the rib cage. Or maybe you're doing the opposite. I know it seems crazy, but a lot of the time, sometimes our bodies do the opposite motion when we're trying to learn a new action. So let's do the opposite. When we stick our booties out into the floor, our backs come off the floor. So feel that arch position. Release it. Let's try it with a Pilates scoop. So pulling in your transversus abdominis. Lift your back, lower back off the floor. Shoulders are still down, butt is still down, but there's space underneath. You could mail a letter under there at least, maybe even hide an Easter egg. Yes. Okay, come back to neutral. There should be room now just for a postcard. And then curve to what we call in Pilates 12 o'clock pelvis. I'll explain why. And your back is down. There's no air at all underneath your lower back. Release that. Come back to neutral and arch 6 o'clock. Neutral, flat. Curve 12 o'clock. Neutral, flat. Arch 6 o'clock. Neutral, flat. Curve 12 o'clock, neutral, flat. Okay, I'm going to add on another way for you to check and see if this is happening yet. We're going to take our hands and we're going to slide them underneath our lower back right at the top of the pelvis. So I'm just showing you where my hands are. This is my butt. The bony part of my pelvis is where my fingers are just barely touching, but most of my hand is going to be under my lower back here. Yeah. So hands under your lower back. Go ahead and arch, stick your booty out. There should be no weight on anything except maybe the very bottom tips of your fingers are still underneath your butt. Maybe. Okay, come to neutral. Neutral, now that the weight is spread across your fingers and knuckles for sure. And then come to 12 o'clock and you can feel your tailbone come up. And now the weight in your back is all the way up to your thumbs and the tops of your hands. Yeah. And there's very little weight now under your butt cheeks. Let's go through those pelvic clocks or rocking the pelvis. Arch, neutral, curve, neutral, arch, neutral, curve. Oh my gosh, the music came back. We must have all just figured out our Pilates pelvic clocks. All right, now try putting your hands under your hips and your butts. Same activity, but see if you can get even more of that curving action. Arch, neutral, curve, neutral, arch, neutral, curve. Okay, now you can see that I really like to teach by layering, right? Bring your knees up all the way to your chest. Now you should have free fingers. Your lower back is definitely touching the floor here. This is a natural way to come into 12 o'clock. All right, now I've taken away your legs. Maybe you were cheating with your legs the whole time and you didn't know it. Neutral, arch, neutral, curve, neutral. Can you get your pelvis to do this crazy stuff without using your legs? Okay, actually go ahead and leave your legs there. Keep your knees nice and close. Can you actually lift your hips off your hands? Maybe not today, but let's try. Here we go. Scoop, sit, and lift. And lift. It's like a crunch, but you're doing it up. Up. Relax your shoulders. Whee! Okay, stick your hands behind those legs. Hold on and rock up. Find your balance point. Balance point. You're balancing on your butt. Your toes are off the ground. Your back is straight. Slouch. Let your feet come down. Sit up tall. Okay. All right, we have so many tools here. We just learned transversus abdominis isolation. We learned pelvic clock. The reason it's called that is because if you imagine an old-fashioned clock on front of your pelvis, the number we're talking about is going back. So if a 12 o'clock at the top here was happening, I would be going back. If it's 6 o'clock, the pubis goes back. Another way to think about this is it's 12 o'clock. I want some lunch. Oh, I'm so hungry. It's 6 o'clock. I want to go dancing. Yeah, stick it out. That's my way of handy memories. Okay. That said, let's see if we can get my airplay to work again. I think that's the thing that's been causing the problem. It has. Okay. So we're going to get a little move on. I'm going to restart my iPod. Okay. We're going to put all those things together. We're going to start on the floor. Abs in, neutral, or even 12 o'clock pelvis if you can hold on to it. Let's take our hands down on the floor. We're going to articulate the spine. So we're going to roll up head, neck, shoulders, rib cage. Let your hands stay mostly on the ground and we'll take it down. Keep pulling your abs in, shoulders back and head and neck and shoulders, and down to the floor. One more time, and head and neck and shoulders, and down to the floor. Go ahead and bring your knees up above your chest. Bring your knees closer than your hips all day today. We'll go head and neck and shoulders. How's that personal cheesecake? And down to the floor. I'm going to squeeze my legs together, and head and neck and shoulders, and down to the floor. Okay, pop quiz. Put your hand on your belly, please. Same action. Head and neck and shoulders, and down to the floor. Did your belly push your hand up as you did that? Mine sure did. We want to keep that belly in the whole time. Let's try again. Head and neck and shoulders. Where does it go? It's got to push your diaphragm out of the way. So exhale. Head, legs, shoulders, and down to floor. Okay, enough of that. Roll up. Roll down. Part way. Take a little walk. Just feel that transversus abdominis holding on in. We're going to go down to the left and up all the way and down to the right and up all the way and down to the left and up all the way down to the right and up. How's your transversus abdominis? Right. Double time. Okay, come back center. Now we're going to take our knees all the way over to the side. All the way over. Legs on top of each other. Only one hip on the floor. Come on up here. If this leg wants to float up or away from you to counterbalance, that's fine. Twist your heart towards that hip. Just checking our time. Good, good. We'll take it center. Take your knees all the way over to the other side. Float up. Here you go. Twist. How's your transversus abdominis? Okay, let's go side to side. Center, over, twist, 2, 3, 4, center, over, twist, 2, 3, 4, center. Can you check that you're pulling in and getting taller through that transversus abdominis, shoulders back. All right, center. Pull it on in. Send your knees a little wide. Can you feel your sits bones on the floor? I'm going to turn to the side so you can see my back position. Sits bones into the floor. Most of us start back here somewhere. Yeah. So bend your knees as much as you need to so that you can really get up. And we're just going to flop. We're going to wave those knees back. Flop, 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 flop. And then I want you to squeeze them back. The muscles that are doing that are under your butt on the outside here. Squeeze them back, hold them back. Arms out. We're going to burn our little deltoids a little bit. Shoulders, circles. Sitting up tall. Pull your transversus abdominis in. Other way. Sitting up tall. And back. And front. And back and front. And back and front. And back and front. And back and front. Okay, elbows up, up, above your shoulders. Shoulders down, elbows up. Float it out side to side, keeping your core in. Core in. Hold those knees back. Lift it up. Press it down. And twist. And center. And twist. And center. And twist. And center. And twist. And center. Bend those knees. Lean it forward. Press your knees open. stretch. So I am a dancer. I can do the splits. So that doesn't mean I expect you to do the splits. I expect most of your starting positions here for this inner thigh stretch to be very bent leg and just like 45, 90 degree action going on here. Yeah, 45, 90. One leg, two legs. And what I want you to feel here is that your pelvis tips forward. Yeah. If you're trying to straighten your legs too much and your back is getting the stretch, your upper middle back, that's not the same stretch at all. Bend those legs. Be friends with those legs. Walk your booty out behind you. Yeah, there you go. All right, come up. Spinal twist. We'll go twist, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to look towards the forward hand that's over the forward foot. I'm going to check that I'm pulling in and up, and I'm going to lean that way. And I'm going to come back up center, and I'm going to rotate to face the front again, and I'm going to twist. And then I'm going to look towards the forward hand and foot, lean out that way, and come back in. This is called the saw. Spinal twist into the saw. Twist, 2, saw, 2, center, 2. How are your hip flexors? Are they screaming? They might be surprised. Up. Okay, one more time each side, but I want you to try something. Hands on your shoulders, twist, 2, saw. Did you lean over? Is your back shoulder up? Can we instead pull that shoulder down and reach up and out through your forward armpit? That's the proper way to do the saw. Lift. Reach from your armpit. Back shoulders down and back. Up. Center. Bring those legs together, rolling back down to the floor. We're going to bring our knees in. We're going to hold our legs together. We're going to pull our transversus abdominis in and maybe just barely lifting the tailbone so the weight's not in the butt. We're going to come up and we're going to feel how our belly's all smudged out. And we're going to work on making this new habit of dropping our bellies in. You can definitely support your head with your hands here. And all we're going to do is stay up. Drop those shoulders. Maybe reach your hands out. Maybe not, depending on how your neck is feeling, okay? You guys judge. You can support your neck. And I'm just going to bounce my arm in order to cause a vibration in my core that I'm resisting by pulling my transversus abdominis in and down, trying to get my tailbone just barely the weight out of my butt. Remember to breathe. These are called 100s in Pilates. Checking the time. Okay. Roll onto your side, whatever side is convenient. We're going to do a little blowout here. Knees straight forward. Open and close that leg. Oh, let's keep our feet together. Let's do both legs. So I call this froggy office chair. 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 Hold it up. Put your hand behind your knee. Do not let your hips move. Tap your knee into your palm. Hold it there. Straighten the top leg. And bend it. Knees together all the way down to the floor. Stomach's in whole time. Open. Kick. Close. Down. Crazy clam kicks is the name of this. Open. Kick. Close. You should feel your under butt. 6, 7, 8. All right, take it down. Straight line with your whole body. Lower it. Lift. Lift. Keep it small. I just want your heel to travel just above and just below that hip socket, because we're not letting you use your whole back here. That is not it. I want you to isolate these little tiny muscles on the side of your hip. We were talking about earlier. They support your weight when you're switching from side to side. Little circles. Can you keep your body still? Can you keep your transversus abdominis in? All right, let's switch. Knees front, abs in, froggy office chair. go ahead and put your hand behind your back this time. If you feel your hips bucking or rocking back into your hand, and then you need to keep them right on top of each other with your transversus abdominis in and isolate into this external rotator muscle side. Hold, hand out, check your TA, tap your knee into your hand. So the thigh is moving open and back. It's not moving closer to your face. All right, good. Hold it open, extend, and bend. Close it down. Crazy clam kicks. Kick and close. Open, kick, and close. Open, and kick, close. Open, and kick, close. Good times. Let's take your top leg straight. Bottom leg is still really far forward. It's bracing against the floor. Little above, little below. This is your last one. Aside from the circles. So as we were saying at the beginning of this class, today's class had a lot of talking and not as much movement for you guys as we learned the terminology and the muscle movement. Circle the leg. So let that just range in your mind. We got some of these muscles, but we're going to move a lot more as we get more familiar with using them. Circle other way. Don't let your back shiver. Grab a handful of marshmallows and tap that booty out so you don't have a bunch of lactic acid buildup. Roll over the other side. Let your back twist. Tap it out. That is it today. It felt like such a mini class. So please do this homework. Yes. Eventually, one day you can go bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom, top, top, bottom, top, bottom, and then you can do crazy party tricks, okay? So please take some time this week until I see you next time and just do that randomly. Like, let's say, whenever you hear the word, oh, let's check out, what should our magic word be? It's got to be something fun. Whenever you hear the word, I don't know, pick a word. Busy, hungry, excited. Oh, I have a terrible learning idea. Okay, whenever you hear the word crazy, let's do our Pilates scoops, because I'm trying, and it's really hard for me to stop saying that word. I can explain more why later, but I'm trying to replace it in my vocabulary with other words. So whenever you hear the word crazy, let's all become aware of how often we use that word. And let's just check out our little TA a couple times, okay? You guys are gonna be the best at that by a week from now. Okay, thank you. Check out in the chat, please, and I will see you next week. Bye, Lillian. Good to see you. Bye, Noreen. Bye, Ryan. Bye, Evie.
Amber, can you explain the introduce at office hours?
Oh, yeah, that's just for folks who haven't been to any live Zooms with me, that I would love them to try and drop into one of my office hours just to meet me.
Oh, so it's not mandatory.
Well, you've already met me.
Yeah, a few times.
Covered. Yeah. Yeah, all of you guys who have met me and said hi, you're fine. But there's some folks who are taking the class totally asynchronously, and I try and at least have one convo with all of you.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
Okay.